I'm super excited to get the chance to talk to you and get to learn more about you and your band. But
Yeah.
let's start first and introduce yourselves.
What's up? My name's Chris Wilson. I play drums. I am Matt James. I play guitar and I sing. And we are missing Matty C.
Matty C.
Matt Cristoforo.
Matthew Cristoforo, who is at work currently.
Okay.
Yeah, he got called into work. He called me about an hour and a half ago. I was like, dude, they called me, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, you're good. Don't worry, you're off the hook. But we will do our best for answering the questions as he would answer them.
No, I love that. And just again to kind of get our, get you and get to know you a little bit better. Tell me how you guys all kind of came together as a band.
This guy.
Yeah, so let's see. The band kind of really started back in, I would say, like 2014 time frame, maybe 2015. Because in 2013 I started going to school at University of New Hampshire. When I got up there my freshman year, I met a bunch of musicians and everything, and some really longtime friends that I ended up playing music with. I ended up being in bands with. But the whole time I was kind of feeling like during freshman year, I was just like, I don't know, I just want to write a song, And I've been playing guitar since middle school, but I was really into the guitar in middle school, then skateboarding in high school, and then college came around. I got back into guitar, and specifically in freshman year, I started like writing songs, and I wanted to know how to write a song and everything. And so I started writing my own music while playing with other bands and everything. And some of those people that I met, we started playing music together, and I had some songs, and I was like, why don't we try and play these songs? And we just started naturally jamming. I don't really even remember how it happened. I mean, one of the guys was my roommate, Mark Del Grosso, and we lived together for like most of our college time, and he played bass at the time, and we did a lot of work there, doing some foundational work, like building Phatt James, really. And yeah, so we played our first show. They found a picture of me when I was in middle school, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you were a little chunky middle schooler. We'll call you Fat Matt. We'll call you Fatty J." And I was like, you know what? I kind of like it. We just got to throw a PH and two T's on it, and so that's what we did. But anyway, so let's see: freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. I'm playing with those guys. I knew Chris. You played in a band like when I was a senior. I knew of you at least, right?
We played a couple of shows.
We played
together.
some shows together.
Just separate bands, yeah.
Right. So we were kind of all in the same little UNH music scene, and I went home to Connecticut when I graduated, and then the other guys we played with, they went home, and then we got the bug again. We were like, man, we got to keep it going. So we all decided to move back to New Hampshire, even though we just graduated from there, and live with a bunch of our buddies. I ended up living with the band he was in. He didn't live with them, but I lived with the band he was in at the time. And yeah, we were looking for a new drummer, and Chris was very interested and
To say the least.
had the enthusiasm that I know me personally I was looking for. And so I was like, yeah, let's make it happen. And we started jamming after I'd graduated. So I'm a year out. So what year is that? 2017, 2018, maybe?
Yeah, it was like probably the fall of 2017, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because that was my senior year.
He's finishing his senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So we played a bunch of shows and stuff up in New Hampshire and got it going that way. And we started recording. We recorded a little EP, like 5 songs. And then we also, during that time, then we moved into another house. When he graduated, we moved into a house up there in New Hampshire and stayed for one more year with a bunch of our guy friends.
All music friends.
Living in this amazing music house.
Yeah.
That I wish I could go back to.
Yeah.
We recorded some songs there, or one song at least, and at least the foundation of it. So that's like 2019. And then we come home to Connecticut after that year. And because at that point now we had my my roommate that I was originally talking about that I lived with college, like he was in the band all that time, bass player. And his brother, his twin brother, was also a keyboard player at the time. When we left New Hampshire, at that point, 2019, those two guys went out to Nashville. Well, actually, his brother stayed in Massachusetts for a minute, and then he went to Nashville. But they ended up in Nashville, and because they just had some, differing music ideas in terms of like things that they wanted to pursue, in terms of like,
Mhm.
they had some songs that they wanted to write in a different style and stuff like that. But Chris and I, we agreed that we wanted to keep it going. So we just so happened to both be from Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know that until like, I mean, we'd been in a band for a little while, I guess, but it just worked out that way. So we were like, let's just go back home to Connecticut. So we went back to Connecticut, moved in with one of our good time friends who bought a house down here. And that's really when we started. Even before that, we started playing shows around here and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so we came back here and Chris was living in his parents and I was living at my parents. And then we went on Craigslist to go find a bass player. And that's how we found Matty C.
Shout out Craigslist.
Yeah.
Massive shout out to Craigslist. We owe a lot because Matty C is a key piece for us now. He is the foundation of us now. He's the rock. With everything. He's an elite bass player. We got very, very lucky. That was 2019-ish. Like the fall of 2019 is when we met Matty C, right? And then right the turn of 2020, we were like really hitting a stride, playing a lot of shows in New York. We had a really big show slated for March 13th of 2020, which was Friday the 13th of COVID, shutting everything down. So unfortunately, we didn't get to play that show. We kind of realized that live music wasn't really going to be a thing for a while. We played a couple of like small backyard gatherings with like a couple of friends of ours, small things. And then we kind of looked at each other and we're like, we should like record some music. We were living close to my parents' house. I still had like a kind of a setup here that we could turn into somewhat of like a studio, I guess you could call it. At the time it was like, very, very DIY, janky, setup. And we wanted to record a cover of this song that we had been playing out for a long time, Vanity by Highly Suspect, the band Highly Suspect. And so we kind of came in here, recorded some parts for it and everything. And then, as the more it came together, I was like, we all kind of looked at each other. We're like, well, if we're recording a cover, we might as well record some original stuff too. And we invested some money into some new microphones, and my dad and I put together like a vocal booth down here and everything. We're kind of in the basement. That's where we are right now. We're in like the studio area of my parents' house.
Okay.
And that's how the kind of the album came to be. We sat down and kind of went through the catalog of songs that we have, and kind of picked out a bunch of the tracks that we really were playing a lot at the time, and kind of that we thought we could get album ready, and that all kind of jived. I feel like to create what we put together, I think it kind of all made a really, really cool vibe that we kind of envisioned at the beginning. I mean, the songs evolved for sure to be what they are now, but bare bones at the time, what we had, they all kind of made sense to go together. So we kind of hit it hard. We recorded scratch tracks like at the bedroom of the other house that we were living in, and then I was lucky enough to be able to record all the drums throughout. I probably took about a good 3 or 4 months out of the summer coming over here, recording parts, talking with Matt about certain things, talking with Matty C about parts and everything, and then rewriting things, and kind of, because it's tough, at that point, we kind of were in a place of like knowing that these songs were going to a certain spot of like evolving to a certain place,
Yeah.
So, as the drummer laying down the first tracks, because we recorded everything separately, I was like, man, there's a lot of pressure to like lay down the final drums now because there's so much left that we haven't uncovered yet. You know, so it was like a cool opportunity because there was so much freedom that I really enjoyed, of like being able to include influences of mine of like bands that I grew up with. You know, kind of just having the freedom of like, there's nothing. There's obviously a right and a wrong in a sense of like playing too much or playing not enough, but like, you know, we really kind of took the time to you know, kind of carve out the foundation of what was going to lay on top of it. And then once that was all done, we sent all the drums up to our engineer and producer. He's up in Massachusetts. Shout out Trevor Buckingham. He's a legend. He's recorded everything that we've done so far, EP, singles, and the album as well. And then he sent the tracks back, and then we kind of just recorded guitars and bass and a bunch of vocals on top. And you know, really just from the end of the summer of 2020, you know, we took a lot of time to just really kind of hit it head on and just really be like, okay, we don't need to rush through this whole process right now. Like we're in the going through these songs, you know, let's take it a day at a time. And, you know, these songs will evolve as we go along, and, you know, this and that. Sometimes they came together within an afternoon, like certain guitar parts that he recorded, you know, would come together in an afternoon. We like record a couple of takes and then they were done. And then, or like other times, you know, there'd be like a lead line that he like was kind of working on for a couple of weeks or something that, you know, was kind of fitting, but like he didn't really think it was there yet or whatever. And then eventually, like throughout all of the process of us kind of being in here and taking the time to do it, you know, the album kind of blossomed through it. And you know, shout out to Matty C too, because Matty C came in, you know, probably about halfway through the whole recording process and just literally walked in here in like an evening, recorded like 6 songs perfectly. And then he's like, all right, I'll come back, you know, another night and do the rest of them. And then literally within like probably combined like 4 hours, just like recorded all of his parts. It was like, dude, you're a god. Like you're just like plug it in and playing, you know. So but it was really cool. And then now that, you know, that album came out in May of last year, and you know, we put out a music video for the song 7 Days off of that not too long ago, which we're really and yeah, we're just kind of riding the high from that still. And you know, we played a ton of really successful shows down here, got back into New York. We're really tapping into there again. And yeah, I mean, we're in the process of recording a new song that we played out a couple of weeks ago at a show that we had. And you know, we're gonna put out a couple of singles soon, and you know, get some new merch going. We've gotten a lot of okay, this is for you right now too. We've done a couple of interviews with podcasters, and each one of them has given us unbelievable out of the blue t-shirt ideas. So you're just starting to spitfire ideas for t-shirts. We need to like make a podcast line of like t-shirts that we've gotten from all these people.
Oh my God.
But anyway, we just played a really great show not too long ago at this place, Park City Music Hall, which is in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Like, we're lucky enough to kind of call our like home base now. The people over there are amazing, and you know, we've kind of developed a really good relationship with the guys over there and everything. So yeah, we're kind of just, you know, hitting it hard, and Eric has been amazing for us, and you know, talking to people like you has been awesome, and yeah, we're just, you know, riding the high from it and keep it on going. That's, you know, so that's Phatt James right there for you.
Wow. Who needs a Wikipedia page? That was an entire background.
How long?
But
That was a long answer.
and I think you tacked off a couple of like the other questions that I had, which is perfect. I love efficiency. I think that's great. But I think that, well, first off, I love that you guys kind of lived in, like, it sounded like a musical Brady Bunch at first. Is kind of what came to mind when you were talking about kind of all just like living together and working together. And, you know, while you're trying to kind of like develop as a group and develop your sound, like that has to be really cool to be living amongst all of those musicians, right? And kind of get to bounce ideas off of each other, or just have like those late night jam sessions or whatever you want to do, just to kind of, play music and grow. And so do you think that that played a big role in kind of finding your sound now that you have, is like having all of those people around you and being able to play, or no?
I think that was a massive time for us. I don't want to hijack the question too much, but we were lucky enough too, because all the guys that we played with, like Matt was saying earlier, the twins that originally were in Phatt James, they lived in the house with us, so we were jamming constantly. We were always jamming Phatt James stuff, always coming up with new cover ideas and stuff. And then the other guys that we lived with, all these little kind of one-off projects would come out of the blue. Like we had a group called Brother Doug randomly that was like, we used to throw, well, we're out of the house now, but we used to throw these little live music parties in the basement. And, we'd have local bands come in and play in the basement and stuff. And then usually either Phatt James would play or one of these groups, that the band that the house had put together at the, for that week or whatever. We'd play like a little set. And yeah, I mean, it was really cool to be surrounded by music constantly. I mean, every time you'd walk in the door, somebody was in their room jamming, whether it was individual or as a unit. And, it was definitely a developmental time for us too. Cause I think for me personally too, cause like I was the house drummer for the most part. Like I was the only percussionist that lived in there, which I enjoyed because I got to jam all the time with everybody. And like I had my drum set in my room. So like people were constantly coming in and out and we were always jamming and stuff. For me, I got to experience a lot of different genres and styles of music that everybody in the house was into. And I always, as much as I love jamming with those guys and everything, I always loved so much the style that Phatt James was doing and like the direction that we were heading as far as the music that we were putting together. So that was really cool for me to be able to like get all of those, kind of stick my hand in a bunch of bowls. Not that I was ever going to leave Phatt James for any stretch of the imagination, but it was always kind of like, jamming with friends. And like, that was always so fun, but it was always like, okay, that was fun to do. But like, Phatt James was like the future of what I was trying to do, so it was cool to like always, have that direction, but also be able to like have fun on the side with like all these other guys too,
So I'd like to talk about that
Yes,
question.
definitely. Sorry.
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with the thing. That's a good question, and it's funny too because we've been writing more. We've been thinking about writing more. I've definitely it's been on my brain to do some lyrics and stuff, and I actually just wrote a bunch of lyrics about just that, basically about my friends, and specifically at that time period.
Oh, I'm excited. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
Let's go.
That's a little insider scoop, but just the feeling of having those people in your it's like when I live with Chris, now I live alone and it's sad. Like, I mean, it's good, but it's like when you live with like all those people, it's just like, and all your friends, and it's just like there's just an energy in the rooms, in the house, there's just an energy, and it's like, it's just undeniable, and it's so powerful, and it just made me dream. Let's just put it that way. I dreamt like I believed in my dreams so much more. I mean, I believe in my dreams now too, but it's tougher when it's like you don't have all your friends around you like that. When you have your friends around you like that and you're all encouraging each other and everything, it's just like, I don't know, the world just seems so big, you know what I'm saying? So, but it still can. It still can. I'm working on it. I'm figuring out this phase of my life at the moment. But back then, it was hugely influential. Hugely influential. There was just energy in that house. There was energy in that experience in college too, but definitely in that year we spent with guys. So yeah,
there was a lot that came out of that. The EP and was all getting recorded at that time, and the song that we have, "Beat from You," literally spawned in that house between Matt and I, which was that was a really cool moment. Matt, well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, Matt said this on one of the first interviews we did that I completely forgot how that came together. I was like jamming just like a little drum groove in my room, and he like walked downstairs, picked up a guitar, and just started strumming "Beat from You," like literally the chords right away. and that's how the song started, which was really sick.
And then there's another song that happened too, but yeah, picked up the guitar, immediately started playing to his groove, and it was like the chords for that song that we have now. Then I took it outside and wrote a little melody on the porch real quick. I pressed record and I just started singing some random stuff, and one of those melodies actually stuck, and it was great. So it all worked out really, really. That song was super quick. Another song that was pretty quick too that happened in that house, which was the same thing. Me just picking up my guitar. I'm telling you, there was energy in that house. I literally just picked up my guitar and I immediately started playing Quick to Notice. And
nice.
That song is like a vibe. That song is like,
I love that song so
much. I remember specifically like coming up with that riff, then opening the door and seeing Andrew Del Grosso, one of the twins, outside, and being like, "Dude, check this out." It was great.
Oh yeah,
it was great.
So it sounds like songwriting for you guys kind of comes just naturally, or like sometimes comes out of the blue, sometimes, right? And magic comes out of that. But do you guys ever have like those like sit down, okay, we have to write something too, or do you try to get that like spontaneity going?
Lately, like we've had some great writing sessions. Like this song we're recording right now, it did kind of have a foundation, but we sat down and we were like, let's make this a real song, you know? And then another time I can think of with Maddie C too, that instrumental, like that was just like we when we did that, like we knew we wanted to jam and like try and create something, you know. So I've definitely been a big proponent of like, I mean, you don't want to ruin the spontaneity of something, but you want to have it be on your mind that you want to make something, because you're not going to make something if you're just like not trying, you know. So you have to know when that spontaneity is there and then grab a hold of it, you know?
Lately I feel like we've had a lot of really cool ideas come out of jam sessions too, which has been really awesome. Like you know, Maddie C is always a very big proponent of, you know, when we go to rehearse, if we're rehearsing for a show or just hanging out and like the boys are just trying to jam, you know, Maddie C will be like, oh, let's like jam on this little riff that I got, or even that too is just like, oh, I had this like idea, you know, let's just kind of jam on it. And then, you know, whether it's 30 seconds in or it's like 5 minutes into this jam, usually Matt will be like, take a quick second, pull his phone out, go to voice memos, hit record, throw it down, just kind of continue the jam, and then, you know, record the idea. And then, you know, we've formulated some ideas from those like kind of voice memos and everything. We're still kind of in the process of taking some of those and putting them all together. But there's definitely some like, I think there's definitely some heaters in there that, you know, we could pull out and definitely sit on and kind of really take seriously, because yeah, I mean, we've had some really, really cool moments in jam sessions that, you know, we've had like really awesome voice memo like moments.
That's huge. Voice memo is huge, because if you don't record it, you're probably gonna lose it. At least I'm gonna lose it. I know that. There's so many voice memos on my phone that like I can't wait to go back to, because I have other. I don't remember them fully, but I remember that like them being good, and I've listened to them, and I'm like, yeah, we've got to do something with that. And then sometimes too, they can turn into a puzzle, you know, and you can like put this one, and then all of a sudden you got these parts. So
that sounds like me with my notes app. I'm not much of a voice memo person, but my notes app, if you scroll through, is just random ideas I get while I'm like sitting in traffic or random things like that. And so that was kind of my curious question of like, you know, just kind of a fun question. How many voice notes do you think you have of just random songs or pieces? That's just more for me.
I mean, on my phone, I'm never the one to record usually, because I got to use both my hands, whatever and like usually my phone's kind of off to the side, but
yeah.
I mean, I could just start going. Just scroll.
Wow.
There's some good ones way back.
Yeah. Matt definitely has hundreds and hundreds.
I'm not even halfway down.
Yeah, holy crap. That's crazy.
See, this is why I asked, because now we're just like, wow, there's a lot.
I got some recording stuff on here from Just Begun on here too.
There's for sure hours and hours.
And that's not even included all the ones that I brought up on my computer from my old phone, which is like that's back like when I was totally in college. This is like kind of more about when we moved to New Hampshire time period. This is the last one. The last one I have is they're from 2019, January 30th, 2019. Wow. So that's literally.
Yep.
So yeah, you got like 4 years. Oh, it's almost 5. I'm bad at math. Years worth of voice notes. Wow, but that's part of the process, right? Is kind of just getting those ideas out, and kind of, I guess. Then my curiosity is on the other side of that. Like, how do you know that a song maybe isn't right for you? Like you're like, man, maybe let's scrap it, or maybe let's go back to it.
I would say it just doesn't stick. But at the same time, there's plenty of songs out there that just get lost in the sauce.
True.
Like, there's a few riffs out there that just like, I don't know. They just some of them start building more momentum than others, and just it goes with that spontaneity. Like, which song do you want to work on today? Well, if you're feeling this or feeling that, that's why it's good to have multiple songs. I think that's the way I first wrote a song. I didn't write just one song. I literally had like all these different ideas, which I think it happens for most people this way. Is like I literally had all these ideas that could be songs, but I just was I would work on this one this day, and I would work on this one this day, or whatever, and eventually one of them finished, or finished.